The news has come out that Kevin Spacey has won his trial against 4 separate accusers. And now it looks like Hollywood may be knocking back on his door and welcoming him back with open arms. I'm here with Christopher Melcher. We're going to break it all down for you right now. Hey up, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, looking after Popcorned Planet whilst Andy is away, and I am here, yes, with Christopher Melcher. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing, hon?
Good, Steph. It's cool to see you running the channel here.
I try my best. At least it's not destroyed. At least there's something for Andy to come back to, although there's still a day left, so who knows. In the meantime, though, let's really get into this. One of the reasons why I actually wanted to cover this story is because of Andy himself. So check the video out if you want. It is in the history. Andy had his own Me Too misfire, allegations against him that he was able to prove were false. And yep, it looks like in this case, Kevin Spacey has experienced a Me Too misfire as well, because he has been cleared against 4 separate accusers of, let's say, being intimate in really, really bad ways. Nope, he didn't do it. He's been cleared. He is being found not guilty. It's got echoes of what happened last year in the civil trial brought by Anthony Rapp, where he was cleared against his allegations. However, this trial is more significant because it's a criminal trial. So the level of, how he had to prove his innocence, the bar was much, much higher, and he was able to do it against 4 separate accusers. Chris, how significant is that?
Well, it's a huge victory for Kevin, who has endured, these allegations for years. He started coming out maybe in 2017. So then eventually at the height of Me Too, there were anonymous allegations that were published in an article about Kevin Spacey. And again, these accusers were not named. And immediately, and I'm talking within days, the Netflix and producers of House of Cards immediately canceled him. So he's literally canceled from that show, again, based on anonymous allegations. And that's whatever they thought was the right thing to do at that moment. And hey, it's their show. They can take off and put on whoever they want. But what happened is that they sent him a bill for $30 million for the cost or their lost profits from having to cancel him. So it was their decision to cancel him. And they said, because we canceled you, Kevin, you cost us $30 million in lost profits, change fees, whatever. So they went after him for $30 million, and an arbitrator ordered him to pay $30 million. And he's challenging that. It's going to be very difficult for him. But now we see all these years later, 6 years later, we have different people. So the 4 people that were involved in the criminal prosecution in England are different than the anonymous accusers, but still 4 people here making kind of similar allegations, going through a criminal trial, and Kevin prevailed. Same thing like you mentioned last year in a civil suit in the United States by Anthony Rapp, Kevin prevailed. So we have 2 juries in different countries, people making similar allegations, and him winning those in court. And I know things happen quickly on social media. I know that we're quick to kind of believe and protect people who are making allegations like this, but our system is one of law and of courts and juries. And so we now have 2 juries saying, no, he didn't do these things. And to me, that's the ultimate test, and he has cleared his name.
Now, you mentioned something in terms of 2 years ago with the arbitrator ruling that his misconduct amounting to a breach of contract. And in British pounds, it's £25.5 million, which is still a heck of a lot of money, guys, to the producers of House of Cards. The thing is, though, now that he's beaten Anthony Rapp and these 4 separate men in civil and then the criminal trial, what are the chances that, this arbitration ruling actually gets overturned? Because there was no misconduct in the end, because he's been proven innocent, right?
It's very difficult. And in law, we're dealing with with outcomes, not necessarily the truth. Okay, and it's hard to accept this, but we would hope it's a search for the truth anytime we're going to court or an arbitration. But ultimately, we have a decision by a judge, an arbitrator, or a jury, and we're stuck with that, even though it doesn't represent the truth. And so here, part of Kevin's contract with the producers of House of Cards required him to submit any disputes to binding contractual arbitration, which is a private dispute mechanism outside of court. And it's supposed to be quick and efficient. And therefore, the rights to challenge it or appeal it are extraordinarily limited. And so the grounds that really are available to him is to show that the arbitrator had a conflicting relationship, with one of the attorneys or parties that was not disclosed, or that, some kind of like fraud was involved. Very difficult for him. I am following that. I think that it was a horrible outcome to begin with. It wasn't his decision to leave the show. It was the producers who took him off the show within really hours. This was decided, and without evidence, without knowing the names of the accusers, without going to court, without testing it, they took him off the show. Hey, fine, that's their decision. They don't want to take the heat for all this. Fine, but don't send them a bill for $30 million for their decision to act that quickly. So I am hoping there'll be some justice there, or allowance here, because that is an enormous sum of money. Kevin's been out of work now for years, and he's also paying enormous amount of attorney's fees to defend himself against these allegations. So even though he's made a lot of money in his career, this guy's suffering, I'm sure, financially, and hopefully get some relief from that, but it's a long shot. Really the path forward for him is to start working again and making more money and kind of recoup all the stuff that he's lost. But to me, and we're going to get into allegations and stuff like that, and how this kind of arose. But to me, it's like he stood his ground, he cleared his name. And if you follow the trial, Kevin walked in and out of that front door, the public entrance of the English court. And I'm sure private, ways were made available for him. And it wasn't, I didn't see it as a publicity grab as some people do. This was, for a month, he's walking in and out and, kind of standing tall and defending himself. He took the stand. He didn't need to do that. He could have maintained silence and let the prosecution just put his case. He took the stand. He testified. He subjected himself for over a day of cross-examination by the prosecutor. He also did his own homework. He looked at calendars, records. I mean, this is going back 20 years ago, before we had digital footprint of everything we do. So he had to search his records. So this is somebody who embraced his defense. He didn't just stand behind, hey, I don't have to say anything and you prove that I'm wrong. So I think when he comes out of this, he looks victorious. He looks like the underdog that basically recovered here. It's a nice comeback story that I think he has to tell.
Absolutely. But going back to the arbitration, yeah, he's admitted in so many words that financially he is suffering. When the court asked him about his financial situation, he did answer saying, quote, "I've got no money coming in and I have had a lot of legal bills and I've not paid it all off and I still owe money." And he did sell his LA mansion for £8.5 million shortly before the scandal broke. He does also have property in London, which by all accounts he's not even put on the market. Now, in terms of the comeback situation, I know you spoke to Sky News and you actually personally said, quoting you, producers are able to work with Spacey because he's been acquitted, which lessens their exposure if he is hired. And it looks like Hollywood might be thinking along the same lines, Chris, because we've got this Hollywood executive that's turning around now and saying that, dude, he shouldn't have never been cancelled in the first place. And this is an unnamed top Hollywood executive, but they told The Telegraph, which is a newspaper outlet in the UK, quote, "This is a man that never deserved to be removed so swiftly without any due process. There are people who are more interested in rushing to judgment than learning the actual truth. Kevin Spacey, when I can get my teeth back in, should now be able to resurrect his career. He should never have been cancelled." Now, The thing is, at the time when all these allegations came out, it was in the throes of the Me Too era. So whenever an allegation came out, everyone was quick to go behind the person making the allegation. You're telling the truth. Let's demonize the accuser, and that's it. It was very, very binary like that. But now that a lot of us have woken up now and the tide's starting to turn, which is really, really great. What's your kind of reaction to this top Hollywood executive turning around and saying, do you know what, we were too quick to judge. Maybe we should learn from that situation and in the future not do so and allow Kevin Spacey to come back?
Well, I'm hoping that those opportunities are there, and it's going to be difficult, obviously, because these allegations, are going to follow him, and there's always going to be, questions, and but I do think, I mean, he's such a talented actor. I mean, he's spent a lot of time developing, his career, and he's, beloved by fans. So I do think that the opportunity's there. He'll have to be careful of what projects, he decides to go forth with. Obviously, right now, nothing's happening because of the strikes, but it's on his time. I do think that he'll have to, look at how he behaves, because there are a lot of people who made similar allegations against him, and what we've established now with these court cases is it's not criminal, and for those 4 accusers, no crime occurred, and then with Anthony Rapp, nothing occurred that would have require a payment of money in a civil court. But it doesn't mean that nothing happened. And so, again, it just to honor both sides of this story is that we had in the criminal case 4 different people who do not know each other. So this wasn't a coordinated effort. These people didn't know each other, telling similar stories. And Kevin was cross-examined about that. His explanation basically was, hey, if something happened, it was consensual. Number 2, that he, he called himself a flirt. So he's out there trying to have encounters with folks. And it seems that he was aggressively putting himself onto other people, and that was unwanted. And so that happens, obviously, when single people are trying to hook up with somebody else, that they may misread a cue, and that advance may have been unwanted. And that's embarrassing, but it's not criminal. So I do think he's going to have to look, obviously, very carefully, and I'm sure he's doing this, very carefully in the ways that he is reading social cues, making sure that he's not advancing himself on somebody in an unwanted situation. A producer would want to be extraordinarily careful, because they don't want to get sued. They must ensure the safety of everyone on set. So they may put an assistant with him, so at least there's eyes and ears there. I would also expect a producer to insist that he not have any relationships with anyone outside of the production, and meaning any cast or crew outside of the set, he should not be engaging with them. And again, it's some people may say, wait a minute, he won the criminal trial. Well, the thing is that in the workplace, there are harsh consequences to an employer who fails to reasonably protect people, cast and crew. So there's civil issues surrounding that. And Kevin should embrace that, really, because that allows him to return to work and saying, hey, whatever reasonable precautions you think you need for his own benefit, so maybe false allegations are made against him, should be put into place. So I would expect to see something like that in a contract. But yeah, this is going to go forth. He'll I'm sure, go back to acting, and but it's been, I'm sure, devastating to him to have to go through now. We're talking 6 years of this stuff, to now basically say, hey, you know what? Maybe you advanced yourself on folks in an unwanted way, but it's not a civil wrong. It's not a criminal wrong. Sorry, Kevin.
Mm. The only thing, though, that I've got a problem with when it comes to this particular headline is where's the same energy for Johnny Depp? It's as simple as that. He should never have been cancelled as well. He's been proven to be the survivor, Amber the turd to be the monster. Where is Hollywood opening their arms to welcoming him back? But at least it's nice to see that it seems like the tide is turning, at least for Kevin Spacey, and that it looks like they're going to welcome him back, which he is extremely talented. He's a double Oscar award winner. Like, that is rarely unheard of. So he's a really, really good actor. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you appreciated what Christopher was saying, then make sure you do me a favour and you follow him on Twitter at @CA_divorce. And actually stay tuned and join us both at 8:30 UK time, which is 3:30 Eastern, for Pop Culture Justice Live, as we're both going to break down another court case. There was a hearing that happened yesterday against the Michael Jackson Corporation estate situation versus Wade Robson and Safechuck. Oh yeah. Chris and I have got a lot of things to say about that one, so make sure you stay tuned for later on today. And if you appreciated this video and you want more, and of course you want more, guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn that notification bell to all, like this video, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories and whatevers, and also go one step further and join today. Become a Popcorn Planeteer for as little as $5.99 a month. Get exclusive commentary and videos from the man himself, Andy Signore. With that being said, again, thanks very much for tuning in. Appreciate you all your faces, and until the next time, you guys, laters, bye!